The One Piece is great! At this point, we all know it. Most of you have seen the whole first season. And then look at this. And it's one of the most fair scores. I mean, we fans love it. The critics, not as much, but they're kind of right. I mean, there's a little problem here and there, but nothing big. Whether you think the first episode was bad or 10 billion% One Piece peak, you can't deny that it was miles better than any other adaptation ever made. But why? I ask myself. Let's talk about it. My first answer is, well, it's not really an adaptation. As I predicted, it is better described as a reimagining. The story in the first episode is only, 15% similar to the manga? So there is no nitpicking about how accurate it is, something that I know a lot of people are relying on to start dumping on it. But still, that doesn't answer the question. Why it works? Why is it so good? Well, one of the things that I noticed, in most live adaptations, there is a need to establish many things in the first episode or first 10 minutes. Because of time constraints or whatnot, most dialogues are infodumps that are driven by the need to explain the world to the audience, which becomes the style of the whole show and turns it into a series of semi-unrelated events, which makes everyone not see the big picture and lose interest since there's no payoff they can see. Not this One Piece. Netflix's One Piece, from the very beginning, we get a perfect, direct, and simple introduction.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Thanks to Ola's magnificent writing, we get the number one rule that most filmmakers these days forget. Something so basic. Show, don't tell. I mean, one of the lines from Garp says so much.
I warned you.
It tells us right away that they knew each other, that Garp cares about Roger, at least enough to warn him. So there's a story between them. Luffy just saying that I'm the stretchy kind.
What kind of a monster are you? The stretchy kind.
Was such a great thing because it showed restraint, not to give you the info dump right there about how he ate the gum fruit and how there is so many gum, all this extra stuff that we will eventually see. The introduction to the whole world in one scene. Luffy seeing the wanted posters in Shellstown tells you there are many weird pirates, there is a world government, there is marines, they're good, they're bad, because you can tell how Axe Hand treat the town as his own kingdom, where I had to make a little pause, because I don't know how long Iñaki has been acting, but God, even when the lines are weird, he really nails them. It also is really good at making other actors shine.
And I'm gonna be king of the pirates.
The changes are true to the spirit of the show and manga. The smart part was to combine all the stories. Nami, Zoro, and the map get acquired in one go. But Nami's still looking for treasure. Zoro's still Zoroing. And Luffy's still trying to get to the Grand Line, which again works because of all that great writing.
You'll have to excuse
But this
that.
time I don't mean the writing itself, but actually the format that he uses, because as you notice, every time there is a new arc, he splits up the Straw Hats and reunites them for the big finale. So basically, this could have been another arc with minor changes here and there. I mean, instead of the map, they go back to get a poneglyph, and instead of Shellstown, could have been Elpap, or even back to Shellstown. They would have still to sneak in because it's a marine base. They're still strong rivals. This is very noticeable when you compare it to the interaction with the Elvira pirates, which felt more like an obligation. I mean, the acting of the Elvira actor was insane, but still felt rushed. I guess we needed to go get Malfoy. I mean, Chloe, come on. I can't be the only one who sees it.
Oh, my father will hear about this.
I'm not saying that this part was bad, but it was not as tight as it could have been. Also, as I predicted, the fights were in drag, fast-paced and full of action. Another reason why this adaptation works is because each character's lines were true to them. Not a single line can be said by another character.
Get lost.
I am lost. I'm trying to get inside the base.
Which means there was no boring filler or expositional dialogue, especially Luffy's lines. He's still aloof, but feels more intelligent than in the manga. Something that is a better reference to his admiration to Shanks. emulating him a little bit more than in the manga. Even the fighting styles are more defined. Nami, which logically can already fight because it makes sense since she gets into a lot of problems because of the stealing she does. Her fighting style relies on her speed and using the strengths of others against them. Luffy uses the drunken monkey, which is insane because it's a notch to Iñaki being Brazilian, and also Oda saying that he always envisioned Luffy being Brazilian. And then we have Zoro with his 3 swords, which it's as defined as it can be already. But the most important part is that, if you think about it, the length of the arcs and future arcs, like Sanji's, can be compared to his arc on Whole Cake Island, but I'll get back to it. The structure and the pacing is basically a movie, which Oda has written about, 15 now? Without the pressure of having a huge final battle, and I say huge because the final battles are actually big still. And the way that stories are written, or rewritten in this case, it's because he has done a lot of similar stories in another arcs. So he knows how to already have the One Piece feeling in the stories and character interactions, regardless of the setup. As I mentioned, Sanji in the Whole Cake arc, he was not with Straw Hats. And I know Oda had many other ideas of how to bring back Sanji into the crew in that arc, which was kind of hard because he had a lot of setup behind it. And all other arcs, I'm sure, had these other routes. Because, in all honesty, it feels like Oda used these other routes to create this new version. The one thing that really cements things in my mind is that Baroque works were introduced so early, and the fact that Zoro the Ronin was mentioned at all. But what do you think? Was this first episode and the whole thing, or the whole thing depending how much have you seen, good or meh? Leave comments down below and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. And you see what I did?